call, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. PSR is excited to present to you Last Call, featuring your boy, the Pimp Slap POD, Mike M.
We are live and you are here. Let's go, Billy Bridge. How you doing, Dutch? What up, brother? Doctor, what's up, brother? LJ from the HLJ.
Mike, man, happy to be here, man.
T on the ones and twos, -7.5, the official number we'll use, and the lines move 2 points. And this is not a show to be late for.
And now, let's get to the picks.
We be pumping! What up, what up, what up? Happy Friday, everybody. It's Last Call. We're ready to rock and roll and put a bow on this week here. And it's been good to us here. We deserve it. We're coming off another big night. We've been working hard. We've been trying to simplify things. Let's get some angles. Let's capitalize on the line movement. And I don't know how you could still be a doubter when it comes to the importance of this cash flow. Man, we've been kicking ass and taking names. Shout out to everybody that's been riding with us here. I see we got some new members out there. Justin McKelvey, Philly Eagle Flyer. I know you boys aren't new members. Looks like renewal members out there, which is all good, man. Let's go. Let's keep rocking. Let's keep building this thing. Chosen ones out there as well. Let's go. Let's have a night tonight here. You guys know what's up. It's Last Call. It's 6 p.m. Eastern. It's Friday. TGIFF. That's right. We made it through this week here. We got the holidays coming up. Boys and girls, it's going to be a lot of fun. Big weekend. We got college football. We've got NFL like scattered everywhere. Every single day there's NFL kicking out there for us. So it's going to be a lot of fun to get involved this weekend. But we got to build those bankrolls to get that cash for the weekend. And that's what we're here to do tonight. Tiny little card here. We got a tight little card to navigate here. Little speedboat that we're going to slalom through on this thing and try to pick up some winners. We've got some NHL looks, of course. We're going to put the skates on. That's what Last Call does, and we feast in hockey. We're going to go over to the hardwood. We're going to talk some NBA, close it out with some college basketball, and get everybody moving into the weekend. So it's going to be a lot of opportunities to cook them books. Let's go. Gerardo Hernandez says, "Sup, Mike? Sup, G? What's going on, my guy?" Dylan Med, there he is. What up, Mike? What up, Dylan? Got on spitting hot fire out there for us. Definitely, let's go. JPZ, what up, JPZ? I know I texted you earlier, but we got it. We got the little JPZ afternoon special over there on the Euro courts, man. The Euro basketball has been starting to heat up for me, so I'm excited to get back there and rock and roll. Lucky Power says no hangover for Mike today. Let's go, Pip. Man, it was slow going this morning, but plenty of agua, and we're going to turn it into vodka here in just a little bit with some live streams tonight. I know the fellas are going to be rocking and rolling, looking to live bet as well. And what a Thursday we had for some live betting action out there. That game turned out to be a shootout there, a little Saints action with the LA Rams. And yeah, we got some cash in there. We made some of that money. We got some great spots there with the college basketball, college football. We'll go through all of that stuff. We'll recap that as well. 66 Slam, he says UCF kicking off in a half an hour. And that it is. That was a tricky game. No college football for me on that one there. I would give you guys a lean at best in this case here. And I don't mind sharing what that is, but nothing that I'm really excited and passionate about tonight. We've got a big card tomorrow with some college football and some NFL. So going to have to get to work and grind that card out. But there's our guy, Sammy Calmer. Tight little one. What's good, everybody? That's right, Sammy. It's a tight little card tonight, but we're going to find that cash, my guy. Appreciate you being in here. Gerardo Hernandez says he went 3-1 in soccer today. Shout out to you, Gerardo Hernandez. I'll tell you what. I parlayed UAB at +5.5 with AC Milan over 2.5, and that was a nice little +225 spot. So a little 1-0. Turns out I didn't even need those points. I left money on the table by not taking UAB on the money line. But, man, that line just kept moving, and it made no sense. So, anyhow, that's a good omen to kind of move into Friday's card here. Always fun to have cash going into the card. Gets me fired up, gets me excited to make those plays. Whack Prescott. What up, Whack Prescott? Let's get that moolah, Whack. Appreciate you dropping in here. And there's my guy, Ian. Ian, how you doing, homie? Let's go. Sounds like a crazy number, but my data has BYU covering the -28 at home. Not only does he get memberships and show up on the daily, but he's capping the card with us and sharing his looks out there, guys. That's all we can ask for. Dan Kelly. What up, Dan Kelly? How are you, my friend? Let's go. Gold 44. Hi, Mike. Hi, Gold. What up? What up? What up? Let's go. There's Gerardo Hernandez. Says Rockets -8. Got the Rockets first half -4.5. Likes UCF -6. and a Rockets UCF parlay. So my guy Gerardo Hernandez dropping his looks out there, guys. And you know what it's all about here with Last Call. You're getting out of work. You're getting home. Maybe you got a bunch of things to do later on tonight, but you're here to figure out how we're going to get these angles to smack them bookies. That's right. We're going to powder up the hand. We're going to give them a little pop right across the face, a little holiday pop right across the kisser for them. So let's keep rolling. Let's get this thing moving here. And again, guys, we ask you to do 3 things, right? First and foremost, hit that thumbs up button on YouTube. If you haven't done so already, helps us a ton. We got to build this thing. We got to promote the brand. And with the content, with the winners, if you've been cashing, all I ask you to do is hit that thumbs up button, show the support. 2, grab a pen and paper. You're going to want to write down not just what we're sharing here tonight on screen, but with all you good guys and gals in the chat there sharing your looks and how we're all going to try to look with one common focus to smoke them bookies. And then the third thing, of course, share those looks out there in the chat for us. Let's see what's going on. You guys do a great job day in and day out, coming prepared with your best looks. And I know a number of you guys text back and forth with me as well afterwards. Did we get that? Did we get that? Yeah, of course, absolutely. When my pen goes to paper, I write that stuff down just like everybody else. I go back on the replay, make sure that I watch who's cashing with us and want to take that advice where we can get it. Not too proud to say, hey, you got a spot that I didn't look at or I didn't see the angle. I'm absolutely going to try to get that cash with you guys. So that's what it's all about. We work together, Pub Sports Radio, building this community, getting sharper by the day to go out there and build these bankrolls. And in that we are. So there's Cheshire Cat showing up tonight. What up, Cheshire? Says, seriously can't believe Colby's going everywhere complaining about how he lost because the judges were fixed. I think they are fixed. I'll go back and say this, not to put my tinfoil hat on, but I'm telling you, about a month and a half ago, maybe a month and a half ago now, they go out and they announce the final results of a judge's decision, and it was the wrong fight. And then sure enough, what happens the very next fight? It's the same exact outcome that they described when they announced the wrong card. I couldn't believe I saw it with my own 2 eyes. And if I didn't see it, I might not believe it. So doesn't surprise me. Colby Covington, though, kind of didn't show up in that fight there. And anyhow, that's what it is. That's UFC. We don't have UFC for another couple of weeks, so we're going to enjoy the time in between the fights to focus on the rest of the card. We've got some great NFL season coming to an end. We've got college football bowl games. Going to be a lot of fun. The next 2 weeks, the big boys are going to get rolling. We're going to have those New Year's 6 games, all leading up to a big college football playoff championship. So great time of year to be a football fan. And there's Swizz says, get us that money, Mike. You got it. Ian says, keep it honest. The opposite look. I have Alabama State covering the plus 31 at Auburn. I think Auburn flat-footed here and already off for the holidays. And there's our guy, Wine Time Sports, says, what up, Mikey? What up, Wine Time? Always enjoy hanging out with you last night. Good times out there. Good stuff. Getting that cash. What a casher we had with that South Florida game as well. And Caddy Daddy says, is it really Friday without cash and tickets? I mean, it's Friday. But wouldn't it just be better with a wad of cash in your pocket? I mean, come on now. What else could be better than that thing? Dan Kelly says, Dana White has always seemed to me to be the kind of guy who's in the business. Of course. And they got that partnership now with the WWE or WW whatever. The fact is they do have that matchmaking going on to get that stuff done. There's JoJo Rabbit. Stevie G. Mike Straps. Let's go, Steve. I haven't had the straps in a minute. We did have some, was that earlier this week? Was that Monday that I dropped in there with Razor? And we found a couple winners on the track there. So a lot of fun going on, but you guys know what time it is here. We're going to get into this thing. We got have a nice card to go through, but first and foremost, transparency is the most important thing we do. What up, Michael Johnson? Glad you stopped in, my guy. Let's go. Let's talk about this here. We had another banger, 8-3 night. Now a high water mark in units for the show, 30.06 net units on official plays, and continue to smoke it on those leans as well. So not just throwing plays out there to throw them out there, but giving you guys those opportunities that either I got to the window with or I was close and maybe I played them later on. So let's start off this card. Right off the hop there, we talked about this Rams game and the under 52. And the Rams +2 was absolutely the right side, teasing it through 0. Whoever said not to do that? I'll tell you what, anytime they say the book says to do this or not do that, throw that book out the window. It's a piece of junk. It's a paperweight. Rams +2 got it done, but the under 52, we pushed it. So make sure you guys pay attention with those teasers too, because some books will count those as losses, especially if they're sweetheart teasers, if they're giving you the 10 points, a push is a loss. But for the majority of the books out there, those are going to be pushes for everybody. And we moved over to college football. Sweat-free from the hop. We talked about this. Is this too many points? The line was moving. South Florida +3.5. Guess what happens out there? No coach, no quarterbacks. turnover city, and it was just start to finish easy money with South Florida. Hopefully the rest of the weekend is that easy with the bowl games here. We did get the Oregon State over 130.5. We'll keep an eye on that trend. It went 3-0 yesterday. We were able to cash on one of them. And there's question marks with what's going on with Washington right now. Washington college basketball minus 14.5. Just lost that game. Lost a cover for us, but they were down the majority of that first half. Again, now 2 games in a row, and I got the Seattle game. It was high scoring, and they figured it out. But at the end of the day, there you're at home now in a rebound spot to try to put the naysayers to rest, and you're down. You're down double digits at one point in that game. So that didn't make a lot of sense to me. But whatever. That was a one-on-one day on the college hoops. Then we lit it up in the NBA. We got the New Orleans Pelicanos -3. We cashed that one. The Clippers over 236. We got the Milwaukee Bucks game under 239. Again, another W out there. Everybody's public looking at that thing saying the over, and the line didn't move. We had trends supporting the under and capitalized on it. We did. And then there's that fun little parlay we had. Kobe White, 20+ points. Wembyana, over 2.5 rebounds, +156. Give me that cash. That was a nice little plus money spot. Then we go to the NHL. It was a 2-2 day in the NHL. We did get the capital spot. I know a lot of people liked it the other way, saying it's a bad spot against Columbus, but we talked about that blown load theory, right? Columbus puts up 9 goals. They got a Caps team. Eastern Conference teams on a back-to-back. The second leg of a back-to-back are winning at almost a 70% clip. We took home that Capitals money for us. Toronto in regulation. Shout out to our guy, Real Deal Prime. I know we went back and forth, and he talked about the blowout. He got it right this time. Toronto did get blown out there against Buffalo. Fun series. Those two teams play each other. Very difficult, very tough. Buffalo, that's like their Stanley Cup. They want to just go out there and beat Toronto, I think, more than they want to beat anybody else. We did cash a nice plus money spot. We got that Calgary, and the under 6.5 was a +185 line out there. And then we lost to close it out with the San Jose Sharks. They stink. They just stink. There's no way to sugarcoat what San Jose does, but it was a +132 shot. So we reached for it. It's actually an 8-3-1 day, but we're not going to track those pushes, track enough stuff anyway. So again, 100 of you guys plus in here already. If you haven't done so, hit the thumbs up button for us, support the cause. Let's keep this thing rolling. And there's our guy, Joseph Thompson, says, what up, Mike M? 1-1 on the show yesterday, but 13-3 last night between NFL and college basketball. My God, nice work. Nice job last night. Yeah, nice job to everybody. Collectively, we got it done. And here's our guys' looks tonight here. Joseph Thompson's giving us the San Francisco over 130.5. And then he's got the Maryland Eastern Shore spot at over 135. So always appreciate Joseph Thompson coming in, sharing those looks for us. And we've got the world is yours, says got Georgia Tech over 13.5 in the first half. And Michael Johnson likes Air Force a lot tomorrow. And, it's not on the cards here. I wasn't going to jump into the college football spot, but I will give you guys the splits here just to kind of keep things rolling in accordance. And this one just kind of had suspicion to me all over. First of all, the philosophy, there's not a team worth of shit in Georgia. And Georgia Tech certainly does not fall into exception of the rule. UCF, on the other hand, Central Florida, 6-6 season, not what we expected from UCF, who was world beaters the last couple of seasons. Gus Malzahn out there trying to get it done, but they did have that big win the last week of the season against Houston to get themselves bowl eligible at 6-6. So you do have 2 6-6 teams out there. You got 54% of the bets, 58% of the cash on the Georgia Tech side, and it's not moving. So certainly I think a flag in the situation here that this thing's been frozen at 6 the last couple of days that I've been looking at the numbers anyways. And then as far as the totals, 61.5, we're looking at 66s now. So we've got almost a 5-point movement in the total in some places, 85% of the bets and 88% of the cash. Again, it's a smaller card, so I wasn't going to jump into this. We don't have the graphics for it here, but just in terms of, kind of full disclosure, the spot that I'm looking at on this one here, I looked at the team total. I got a 36.5, and it was a -115 spot. Might as well call it an official show lean here. I'm not in love with this game, and what scares me the most about this here is the total's climbing like crazy. We've seen that the totals have been dropping like crazy in college football, and those games have been going over. I think Georgia Tech's the kind of rotten egg in this bunch here, and that might spoil anybody that's looking at these overs. To me, Georgia Tech's certainly capable of going out there and scoring, but UCF's defense ain't no bitches either. They're not just going to roll over and let them settle for, smacking it to them. Georgia Tech takes that big loss, 23 points they score. Prior to that, they did put up 31 against Syracuse, but we know Syracuse. We saw what Syracuse does out there. before that, they play Clemson. They score 21 points against Clemson. They play a Virginia team. They score 45 points out there. They score 46 against UNC. So they're very capable of scoring. I'm just concerned that they don't get the job done. And on the flip side for me, I think this is a UCF team that does like to score. They like to throw the ball deep. They like to keep the chains moving. They like to keep the clock moving. And as much as I thought that this game should go over this number, I ended up with the team total. I just thought this is the spot, 36.5. To me, I'm concerned that Georgia Tech doesn't get the job done. And not my favorite bowl game of the weekend. Just something that I kind of did dive into a little earlier. A friend of mine had talked about the game, and I said, you know what, let me dive in. Let me take a look, and let's see what we think about this thing. So, I would give you a lean to say that I would go to the team total on that thing. It just concerns me mightily that we've got just over that coin flip, but the line's not moving on the Georgia Tech side. So I'm not sure what to make of that. It just, to me, it seems like the books are saying UCF should blow these boys out at a 6. It should be probably closer to a field goal spot with this game here in 2 6-6 teams. But I'm just concerned about that. Yeah, 66.5. There's some spots that I see out there, Cheshire Cat. So what up, Dabby Cap? Shout out to you, my guy. The world is yours, says Georgia Tech will score plenty. All right. I mean, that's it. As much as I wanted to kind of dial into that game, I just couldn't get there. So UCF team total over 36.5 for our guy Director 97, likes UCF -5. And NCAA basketball, the college hardwoods, the collegiate ranks, he's going to go to Tulsa -7. Shout out to our guy Director 97 sharing his looks out there in the chat for us. But let's dig in. Let's talk about some of these official plays here. Let's get everybody moving in the right direction to get you guys cashing more tickets tonight. And we'll start this thing out. We'll start out with the NHL tonight. We had a long card. Shout out to our guy Isha yesterday coming in with the NHL, giving us his thoughts and opinions on the status of the NHL and the league. And yeah, we ran long, but I love hockey. So I'll talk hockey. I'll talk all these games up and down, left and right, and try to get everybody at least some information you can take away for the future. But today, I think we've got a couple of great trends that line up here for us. And I'm excited. It's a small card. It's a 4-game NHL card. I do not have a play on my boys here, the Flyers. We're not going to rock with that spot tonight. I'm just a little concerned about what's going on with the status of Carter Hart there. He looks like he's coming back from that sickness, but it's like I don't know what kind of sickness it is. It like went away and then it came back and it went away and now it's come back again. So I'm not sure what his overall physical conditioning looks like here coming off of kind of that. It's not a back-to-back game. It's a back-to-back sickness. It's kind of weird that he's in that position. So anyhow, first game I do want to talk about with you guys here. I'm looking at this Edmonton Oilers spot and the New York Rangers. And I know I'm going up against some heavy hitters and the spreadsheet play of the day here, but just too much opportunity not to in this case here. What we have is we've got Edmonton. They're starting Skinner at 11-9-1. The Rangers bringing out Jonathan Quick again. The old Maseratis getting the cover pulled off, taken out of the garage. 9-0-1. I think he's 37 years young now and sporting a pretty tremendous record at 9-0-1 for a backup. 3-0-4 goals against average for Skinner, 88.5% save percentage. On the other side of things with Quick, 2.09 goals against average and a 92.6% save percentage. And, Edmonton, real ballsy the other night there last night. We talked a little bit about that thing being a shootout, and shootout it was against them New Jersey Devils. They went with Calvin Pickard out there, and he got lit up, but he didn't get lit up too much because they did come back and win that game. And this particular position that I have for this game fits this narrative exactly here. You've got Skinner, 0-2 in his last 2 games. He's allowed 8 goals in those 2 games for 43 combined saves overall in those 2 spots that he had out there. But it's 81.4% save percentage. Kind of a struggling spot for what should be their number 1 goaltender. But prior to that, he did have 7 wins in a row, and he was rocking at a 93.4% save percentage. So I'd give that East Coast travel a little bit of a pass, if you will, that he kind of fell off the wagon. And I know on the other side of things, the Rangers have won 3 in a row. They're scoring like crazy at a 12-4 clip here, 12-4 outscoring their opponents over those 3 games. But, for me, the situation that I looked at with this game here is I thought, first and foremost, they sat Skinner and put Pickard in for Edmonton, and they come out there and they get the job done. Trend number 1 that we've been tracking all season here, when you last played the New Jersey Devils, you're coming off of a no-rest spot, 13-5 over the last 18 games. How many times has that happened this season? 3. It's a perfect 3-0 when you're in that little boot, if you will, of the tri-state area where you play New Jersey, the Islanders, and the Rangers. After you've played the Devils, you're out there in a spot where you're 3-0 this season, 13-5, and it's Edmonton Oilers at plus money spot. So where I think the regression opportunity comes in here is with Jonathan Quick. He's an old man. I know the Rangers are rolling. I know they're firing. I know the spreadsheet play of the day is on the other side of this thing for me, but I'm going to go with the numbers that have been working for me. I'll take a plus money stab with the Edmonton Oilers, and we will call that the first official play of the card tonight. Let's go. Shout out Jeff M. I'm not sure if that's the case or not, but that is for life. So maybe that would be the resurgent that comes out there. So JPC says he likes the over better. Real Deal Prime says Skinner scores. If Skinner scores, Real Deal Prime, I will have to certainly recognize you for that one out there. The Cheshire Cats. Yeah, we're talking about Carter Hart's situation there. I can tell, boys. I can tell. I appreciate it. Certainly the world is yours says, went to add more to it and pissed it jumped off. Jumped, LOL. Wine Time Sports says, I'm riding the Oilers money line with you, Mike. Let's go, Wine Time. It's a plus money shot here in that situation. What that trend tells me, too, specifically, is that style of game that the Jersey Devils play, who I think are a certain contender for the Stanley Cup, just kind of gets you moving. It gets you fired up. It gets you rolling in the right direction. It's a big win. They've got momentum, and I think they get Skinner to come back to form and get that win for them. So play number 2 we'll talk about with the ice tonight here. We got the skates laced up. We're looking at this Boston Bruins and the Winnipeg Jets spot. What a game this is going to be, and you can see it on the screen right here first and foremost. It's actually down to minus 110, so it does continue to fall. We did have a spot like that yesterday. It did continue to fall. That was the Capitals. By game time, it went down to minus 111 when we did the show, and we took advantage. It was minus 1. It's almost an identical number situation that we have right here, right now with this Boston Bruins spot out there. And, when we look at the goaltending side of this thing here, we do have Swayman going in goal for the Boston Bruins, but he's a 9-1-4 Swayman, 206 goals against average and a 93.3% save percentage. On the other side of things, Connor Hellebuck, the go-to, the guy that's been leading the charge, their number one goaltender, 15-6-2. He's got a 243 goals against average and a 91.6 save percentage. We know the big deal, Kyle Connor being out of the lineup for the Winnipeg Jets, their leading, go-to guy or their go-to guy. I think it's a definite loss for this team in more ways than one. He affects the power play unit. He affects the special team, the penalty kills unit. He affects the number one scoring line as well. And it's been a minute, and it's going to be a few more minutes before he comes back out there. On the other side of things, we have Swayman, coming in on an 0-2 spot, but it's the first game of a back-to-back. And Swayman, despite the fact that he's 0-2, those are overtime losses. He's 2-0-2 in his last 4 games. 95.8% saving out there with only letting in 5 goals in that stretch. So he's very much standing on his head right now. Boston on the other side of things, they're 2-1-3 in their last 6. They're not out there world beaten, but they're grabbing points along the way. They're fighting every stretch of the way here. And I think this is that opportunity for the Winnipeg Jets to fall down a little bit. The last game that Winnipeg played, the 20th of December against the Detroit Red Wings, they picked up a 5-2 victory. The flip side of things, though, the Bruins do have that extra day's rest. And I think that's more important than not in this case here. We know the Bruins are a bounce-back team. When you look at the bounce-back spot for the Boston Bruins particularly, going back the last 3 seasons, after a loss, they're 54-14, and they're covering the games by over a goal, a 1.25 goal margin. The under in that same stretch when they're in a bounce-back spot is 23-41. That's telling me the goaltender should stand on his head, come back. They play defense. They don't want to continue to fall down the black hole of losses here, and they're going to try to push forward. They'll play defense. They're going to get the Swayman that's been out there at 95.8% save percentage, and I think that bounce back opportunity exists here with the 54-14 trend for the Boston Bruins. So that's one of my favorite spots on the card tonight. Boston's definitely been kind of reeling in this case here. They are coming off of 2 losses, but prior to those 2 losses, they had a win against the Islanders, and guess what happened the game before that? They took a 2-1 loss to the New Jersey Devils. They took that loss. They came back and won. We know they don't lose back-to-back very often, and in this case, they've already lost 2. The trends, the numbers, everything supports a Boston Bruins bounce-back spot for me in this case here. And at minus 111, again, I think it's a steal for us here. A little Friday night Boston extravaganza. I think they get back to form, at least for this game, and then we'll see what happens. They might go back to their losing ways again. And then the final card the final play on the NHL card tonight, we'll jump right into. And you can see it right on the top. Here we go. There's Keith. Says, Keith, what up, Mike and everybody? Let's get this cash. Let's go, Keith. Ricky Bobby, like the over 5.5 in that Boston game, I think is what he's leaning to there. And then JPC says, nah, ugly, still ugly, upside down. Let's go, JPZ. Let's keep it rolling. Let's talk about this game here, and let's talk about how and why I'm getting to the window with the Chicago Blackhawks tonight. Again, another trend. Fortunate, sometimes we get these smaller cards, and there's just not a lot of numbers or trends that angles to work with here. But I think we got something teed up here on the gold platter for us. In fact, I thought Boston was the favorite spot, but now that I think about it even more, I like this Blackhawks spot even better. You got a Montreal team 14, 13, and 5 coming into this game, and you got a Blackhawks team that stinks right now, right? They're 10 and 20. We know they got Bedard out there, and we know what that's been doing for the team, but they're not the same team. I mean, they just came off a huge win as a big underdog at home against the Colorado Avalanche, and you're going to put them right back in that spot. On the flip side of things with Montreal, you've got Primo starting in goal. This is their goaltender's first start since December 9th. Now, he did play really well in that game. He had 46 saves on 48 shots. In that game particularly, he's only let in 9 goals in his last 3 starts as well. So do we see that high-flying scoring going on? I don't think that's going to be the case. We know Montreal's coming off of that 4-3 loss just last night, and I think that's a big deal for them when it comes to affect their energy and their stamina here. On the other side of things, with the Blackhawks, we have Mrazek coming in goal, and they're giving him the back-to-back start after standing on his head 35-37 against the Colorado Avalanche. Chicago, definitely not a great defensive team. They're 4th worst in the NHL with 3.55 goals against, but big number opportunity. I got 3 of them lined up for you here. First and foremost, home favorites, if they got 1 power play goal or more, the last game that they won and went under are 27 and 14, 17 and 23 to the under, by the way, if you're thinking about this being a potentially lower scoring game. When you have a home team that's got a total of a 6, that's a favorite up to minus 170. They're 25 and 11 across the NHL this season. So that 6 number is critical. That it's a 6 is the line that we've got. We see a ton of these Canadian games are lined at 6. This Blackhawks spot's at 6 today, depending on the books you're looking at. The book that I'm using for the trend information has it lined at a 6. And then here's our favorite, the unrested team off of overtime, 15 and 41 over the last season and a half right now. Unrested teams off of overtime, 15 and 41. That's the Montreal Canadiens. Tired team, traveling, coming off of an overtime beating against Minnesota. Give me the Chicago Blackhawks and give them to me at a nice money price right now at minus 114 is the best number I see out there. So minus 114 for the Chicago Blackhawks. I think that's going to be good money tonight. That's a little 3-banger on the NHL slate tonight, and I think they're all priced really well with that opportunity for plus money with the Edmonton Oilers. And I know I'm going against some of the heavy hitters out there, but in this case, I don't care. The numbers support the opportunities. Let's keep it rolling. Let's go. Let's get moving here. Next card we're going to talk to you guys about, the NBA. Brisk pace tonight. And, I actually made an about face on this one here. So as much as I had the Philadelphia 76ers as an official play. I've seen some of the numbers are down right now. So the line makes me nervous because I know there's going to be an injury coming. There's going to be somebody sitting out of this game, and I haven't seen it yet, and I don't know who it is. So as much as I get not so very concerned when it comes to injuries because they're baked in the lineup, the fact right now is we had everybody pounding away on Toronto Raptors, and the line really didn't move. Now we're seeing a 0.5 point movement to the Sixers. As far as the money line, again, that's not moving, but I can't see where the bets are coming in. We have 55,741 ticket sample right now, and it's a full blind spot for me as far as what I'm looking at for this game. So I'm apprehensive at best about it. Another number that I'll give you that kind of, made me kind of surprised here. When I was thinking about this game, I thought specifically, this is that sneaky spot that Toronto screws me on. They suck. They're not a good team. We just got them off of home spots where they were not performing very well. And the Sixers are a great home team right now. They've been rolling for us, and we've been cashing on them like crazy. But as I started thinking about it here, check these Toronto numbers out. The Raptors, plus this is a money line opportunity for the Raptors. The Toronto Raptors money line, the 76ers 11 and 20 straight up in their last 31 conference games, when the next game's a revenge spot. It's a Christmas game against Miami. So it's kind of that carefree, like, letdown spot here. They got a big game coming up on deck, and we see that historically they're 11 and 20 when they're in that kind of sandwich position out there. We've got a couple sandwich spots in the NBA tonight. The other side of things, the Toronto Raptors, the second most profitable underdog in the last couple of seasons when they're at least a 7-point dog in those spots out there. 15 and 1 straight up over that 16 game sample as well. So Certainly not for the faint of heart, but yeah, it's not an official play for me any longer, the Philadelphia 76er spot. I did think about it. I looked at it, long and hard. There's a couple of trends that kind of supported it being a spot to play on these Sixers, but I'm not sure what's going on. There's going to be some wonkiness, I think, with this number. If you're curious about the Sixers numbers, 10-1-1 when they're a pick'em or a favorite against their own division out there. So they have been playing in tremendous against their division. The Raptors 0-10 against divisional opponents who are averaging more than 14 fast breakout points per game. Fast-paced teams, the Raptors have a tough time hanging on, but that scheduling and sandwich spot to me was just enough to have me pump the brakes a little bit. Certainly can't see what's going on with the data, with the numbers, where the cash is coming in. And Dan Kelly says that trend sounds like Embiid's psychology might be involved. Yeah, that could very well be the case. That could certainly be. I'm curious, Dan, if you have a thought on that game as well. But for me, it's not even a lean at this point. If anything, I would probably think to go the other way there after reading some of those numbers for the Raptors. We'll see what happens as it gets closer to game time. It's a 7 p.m. tip-off. But I still I keep looking, and I haven't seen anything come up across the radar as far as who's playing and who's out of this thing here. But something just tells me somebody's not playing, and it's enough for them to take this line down. So anyhow, let's keep rolling. Let's talk about some official plays that I am on in this game here. There you go. And Dan Kelly says the Embiid props just came down. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, the fucking Toronto Raptors are going to win this game probably outright now is my gut telling me that thing. I mean, again, I see the numbers are back. 79%. No, now they're down again. It said 79%. And they're like fucking with me on this game. I'm just going to move on from it here. Let's mark our words here. Wouldn't surprise me to see them Toronto Raptors come out and win that game outright. So no official play for me on either side of it. Just something tells me this is a bad spot for it. The Philadelphia 76ers should be like -14 right now against the Toronto Raptors. That's how bad the Raptors are. And they're only sitting at 8. Just seems like a real trap spot. So anyhow, let's go. Let's keep talking. The next game on the board we're going to break down here. We've got the Nuggets and the Nets and a play for me. I talked to you earlier about the sandwich spots out there, and I think this is the case. We opened all day. This line was sitting at 4.5. It's finally ticking to 5. 66% of the bets, only 53% of the cash on the Nuggets, suggesting that some of that bigger money is coming in on the Nets, and I think I know why. The total opened at 231. We're seeing it drop a half a point, even a full point on some books now. 75% of the bets, but only 28% of the cash on the Nuggets and on the over, rather. And we are seeing that drop. But the money line number is what jumps out to me. The public's banging away on the Nuggets. We didn't see much movement, but then you look at the money line, plus 175 is where it opened. 93% of the bets on the defending NBA champions to come out there and put boots to ass on the Nets. And yet the lines dropped 15 cents to a plus 160 spot out there. Something going on a little crazy in there. And I think it has to do with talk about the sandwich spots here. The Denver Nuggets 0-12 against the spread, losing by 12 points on margin when they're on the road off of back-to-back spread wins versus a team with 49% or less win percentage. When they play a poor team and they come off of back-to-back spread wins, it's a letdown spot for them. It tells me that they adjust to the level of their competition and it's hard for them to pick it back up. The Nets, on the other hand, 10-0-1 with a margin of 10.5 points. When they're at home, it's before the All-Star break, and their opponent's on the road the next game. That's that sandwich spot situation where they're coming off a road game, they're playing the Nets, and nobody wants to play the Nets in this case. The Nets are certainly one of the best covering teams in the NBA. They don't know how to put a number on it here. We can get ourselves a 5 right now, and a 5 is what I'm going to take here. So give me the Brooklyn Nets. Let me just double check this line and make sure that it is accurate. We have a 5 at -110 on Caesars. So we'll take it. We'll take the dirty C's to give us that +5 and see if we can't capitalize with this opportunity in this over spots here. Intersecting zeros. You guys know how excited I get about the intersecting zero spots. And let's keep it rolling. A tight card for this NBA spot. Not a ton of plays for me. I do have a double up, but I wanted to share this spot because I like this opportunity next here. A player prop opportunity in this Atlanta Heat game. We know these teams score, Atlanta rather, scores a ton of points. They should be out there putting up, 125 on their own. But what we have is this line opens at 2.5. It's dropped to 1.5 for the Hawks here. 47% of the bets and 76% of the cash on the Atlanta Hawks, suggesting with everybody sitting again for Miami that this is an opportunity for the Hawks to come out there and sneak them boys. The total opened at 238.5. It sits at 238.5. but everybody's hammering this under. 57% of the bets and 86% of the cash on the under. Frozen line alert right now. Frozen line alert. This total has not moved. 8 p.m. start. And the number that I looked at here for this thing was just a player prop. I want to kind of single this game. I want to isolate this game down to what's the most, I don't want to say predictable situation out there, but what's the thing that I think we have the most opportunity with in this case? To me, it's Trae Young and his points, and it's over 27.5 points. It's about the minutes for Trae Young. He's 35 or more minutes in his last 5 games. He's gone over this number. He's gotten 30 or more points in every game but one of those games in his last 5. And the game he didn't score 30 was against the Nuggets. He didn't play much in the fourth quarter at all. So it was just a minutes-based thing for this guy. When he goes 35 or more, he gets the job done. So you know what? I'm going to make that an official play now because I backed off of that Sixers play. You know, I like to keep a certain number of plays on my card every night. I know that for me with the numbers and the percentages that I can get to the positive and stay positive with that case. So I'm going to go with Trae Young over 27.5 points. It's a minus 120 spot out there. Let me just line shop this real quick while we're here. We might as well. We got some time. We got a few minutes here, a couple games left. Trae Young is now 28.5 points out there. 28.5 points at plus even money, 28. So I'll take it. I'm taking it. I don't care. I'm on it. Again, it's a minutes-based thing for me in this game. I think Miami's going to, they're going to have to battle. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. That fact that line isn't moving to the under with everybody pounding on that under, to me, says it's an opportunity to take Trae Young over 28.5 points. We'll make that the official play at even money out there. Trae Young over 28, even money. And that might even make its way to a same-game parlay at some point for me. Let's see. Kelly V says, Christmas Day, Denver -5. Last year they got screwed with a 10:30 Eastern game. Christmas Day, Denver -5, 2:30 Eastern. James over points, rebounds, and assists. Christmas, he shows up. Not saying the Lakers win, but he shows up and shows out from our girl, Kelly V, sharing those looks in the chat with us. Appreciate that, Kelly. Wine Time says Trae should go off as well. He likes it. Yeah, the fact that it's moving up a point now with that total not moving to the under with everybody banging away on it tells me it's an opportunity. There's Bo Jackson. What up, Bo? Bo says Heat money line for Bo Jackson. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with the side in this game, and the total is kind of weird for me, but I'll take a shot with the points. And Saturated says Trae over 37.5 points, and assist is a good look too. I like that look. I'm here. Let's just take a look. We'll line shop that for you real quick. 38.5 -110s out there. So 38.5 -115s, 39.5 -110s. I like the spot. Not mad at that spot whatsoever. Saturated. Thanks for your input there. And the Cheshire Cat says LeBron James random timeout. Saturated likes the hero over 24.5. We just cashed on that hero, but remember, we just cashed on it at 21.5. So the fact that all these player point props are shooting up tells me this might be a high scoring kind of non-traditional game that we see from the Heat. The Heat seem to want to kind of slow it down at home. And I don't know that that's the case tonight, but let's keep it moving. We've got one more game on the card for the NBA. We got a college basketball look, and we're going to get everybody out of here to go get those bets placed here. And this is the old double dipper for me. The old holiday double dipper. Let's get to the window with some plus money spots out here as well. You know what? I've been telling you guys, I like to try to get creative with some of these things, and creative, I think we did here. So if you look at this game, let me pull the numbers up for us here. We've got the Phoenix Suns, the Sacramento Kings, 33% of the bets, 78% of the cash on the Phoenix Suns. The line moves from +2.5 to +3.5. Red flag right there. Red flag. Everybody, the big bettors are pounding on the Suns. The guys that need to get the clearance from the managers to be able to put that $10,000 wager down, big enough to move the line. The manager comes to the window and says, yeah, I'll take your 2.5. Hey, how do you feel about 3.5? Just after they book that 2.5. Those are red flag spots out there. Best way to describe it. And you look at the total. The total opens at 245. We're at 244s out there now, as much as a point. We have a number that starts 70% of the bets, only 37% of the cash. Now, that's kind of the spot you want to see with the sharper money, the bigger money, pushing that number down. It's gone down a point out there. That's the concern you want to see when you got the big cash coming in. You don't see that on the Sun side of things. So, first play that I went with here, the old double dipper here. It's a +145 spot. Look at what I did with the Sun spot here. I took the Suns. I took their total down to 234, 11 points off the original number. And then I added to that Sabonis with over 12.5 rebounds to make it a +145 spot. How did I come up with that derivative there? First of all, trend that I've been kind of tracking here, the quarter one fast start fade. The previous game, when the team wins that first quarter and comes out to a fast start, aka the Suns, they're 19-33 that next game, but they're 37-16 to the over. So when they come off that fast start, the team that they're playing that next game has to keep pace with them. They have to recognize that fast start and put that pace up there. So 37-16 to the over, and it's going over by 6.6 points. So a lot of 6.6. Anyhow, the over for me in that spot there, dialing that thing down to the 234 number made a ton of sense. Getting the Sabonis 12.5 rebounds. Why Sabonis? Well, if you look at it with what's going on with the injuries and the lineups out there, he's got to get himself some extended time. He's got to get himself the minutes right now. And you got the Kings in a kind of funky scheduling spot where they're home for their 5th of 6 straight home games right now. So very comfortable at home. Shouldn't have any problems. He's sleeping on his own bed. He should be comfortable and ready to roll. He's averaging on the season 12.2 rebounds a game. But we know that the Phoenix Suns are an electric offense out there. There should be a ton of rebounding opportunities for Sabonis to get the job done out there. He's covered the prop over 12.5 rebounds in 2 of his last 4 home games as well. Again, I said he's averaging 12.2, and I think it's the opportunity with the opponent where there's going to be plenty of opportunity for him to get those boards and rack that 12.5 up for us. So the first play I got, the Suns over 234. I want Sabonis over 12.5 rebounds plus 145 spot. And the second play that I went with here is the Sacramento Kings. I'm up 3, but I see 3.5s out there now. So it's moving the direction that I want to see it moving in as well. You know, the Sacramento Kings straight up, they're 14-0 straight up. They're winning those games outright by 9 points a game when they're on a team, when they're versus a team that's on a 4 or more game losing streak against the spread. That very much fits the model for the Phoenix Suns right now. They didn't cover the spread against Portland. They didn't cover the spread against Washington. They didn't cover the spread against the Knicks, and they didn't cover the spread against the Nets. So there's that perfect fit spot against the spread. It's a 12-2 number when they're coming in out there against a team that's on a 4 or more game spread losing streak. And then the Suns on the other side, the Phoenix Suns are 0-9-1 against the spread as a dog when they're at least a 4-point favorite the previous game. So when they let the books down and the bookmakers make that knee-jerk decision to make them a dog, they're 0-9-1 against the spread. 2 kind of, again, intersecting 0 opportunities for me to jump in for a straight play on the Sacramento Kings, minus 3.5. And I think it's bounce back city right now. They just got beat down by Boston in that game that we were on that over, 144-119, sailed over that number for us comfortably, but I think it's a get-right spot. Previous to that, they beat the Wizards, they beat the Jazz, and they beat OKC. So Boston came to town. Boston spanked them. It was a Tatumless spot as well, and we know that we talked about what Boston does when Tatum's not in there. They win. I mean, who knew? It's crazy. Your number one guy's out of the game, and yet you still find a way to win. So shout out to Nasty Nate and his Boston Celtics out there. Let's talk about the last game I've got on the card for you guys tonight. I went over to the college hoops. The old hardwood, this game's going to be popping off very shortly, so wanted to make sure to get this one in. Trying to be selective. You know, we're at the high water mark for the show, so I didn't want to go out there and just kind of blast a bunch of things that I wasn't confident in. I'm weary of this kind of upcoming Christmas spot for these cards, and different for college bowl games because they've been waiting for the last 3 or 4 weeks to get to those spots. But when it comes to college hardwood, when it comes to the NBA, when it comes to the NHL, I said this with the NHL earlier today. These guys party. These NHL players like to party. They got money in their pockets. They're young guys. They're going to go out there. They're going to get boozed up. They're going to have a ton of fun. They can't wait to go on this Christmas break. And then the next hockey games don't start until Wednesday. So are there eyes on the prize right now? I'm not sure. But, you know, that makes me a little weary. And then I know the NBA, the big showcase for the NBA is Christmas. So these kind of games leading into it kind of give me a little pause for concern. College basketball, I don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't know, maybe they're just mad they're still on campus or they're traveling with the team and they're not home with their family. I don't know. But the spot that I did know about here that I do like in this game is the Canisius High Point spot. Canisius, for anybody that wasn't sure, that's a team that's in my region. And for whatever reason, a lot of people like this Canisius team here, but not me. In fact, I like this High Point spot. We've made cash with High Point this year. High Point opens up at -5, moved all the way up to -8.5 right now. 59% of the bets and 94% of the cash on this High Point side. The total opens at 151.5, and it's dropped. You guys know I love that correlation. When we see the favorites, I like to see those unders moving in that direction. 64% of the bets and 51% of the cash on the over, and it's dropped 2 points. What is going on there? Well, I think when it comes down to it, the big key here, the big optimum opportunity is this neutral court spot. Neutral court games, when they're lined between -6 and -11, the favorite is 10-3 against the spread, smoking the spread by almost 11 points a game when the total's over 146. So we've got that high number. We've got High Point coming off of a 3.5-point favorite against UNC Greensboro. They come out and they win that game 74-63. Flip side of things, Canisius just had a tough physical game a couple of weeks ago against Pittsburgh, and they've just been kind of sitting around on ice. They haven't done anything in almost 2 weeks. I think it's a tough spot for Canisius to come out here and get this cover. I'm going to rock with High Point. That's an official play for me. And what do I see? What do I see for a number? Yeah, it's suspect for me because the New York State factor here. When you live in New York State, it's difficult to let me go to this book. Let's go a little offshore action here. Let's see what we can find for New York State in this Canisius game. I don't want to take a shit number if I can get a better number out there, but you know what? It's not worth it. 8.5 points is fine. The margin of victory in this thing being that 10.5, almost 11-point spot for me. I'm going to lock down High Point as the official play. And there's Joseph Thompson gifting a membership. My guy, Joseph Thompson. Appreciate you, my brother. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Let's rock and roll. And my guy, Joseph Thompson, blessing our action tonight, gifting a membership. If you pick that membership up, make sure you pay it forward, right? Give one to somebody else. Let's get that membership train going across Pub Sports Radio. And at the very least, renew it when you guys get going on there. We want to go. We want to roll. We want to build this thing up. And we need everybody's help to get there. So now I see the points are down, we're saying, for the Trae Young spot. So let me just double check. I don't want to take a bad number if I can help it. We're still live in the stream. Let's take the advantage where we can. And I still see 28.5, but it's all right. It's an even money spot. We'll take a stab at it here tonight. We've got a great card lined up. Again, I know it's a tight little spot there, but I think we have the opportunity to get the cash laid out for us. Real Deal Prime, appreciate you rocking in here. Crumb, appreciate you. Swizz, Ian, Shaber, Kelly V says lean under 130 in the UCLA game. I was kind of thinking about some of those later games. Like you look out there in Hawaii right now in Honolulu, you got some teams playing. You got UMass playing at 1:30 in the morning Eastern. That's a body clock factor for me. If you've been to Hawaii, you know that just a couple of days out there it takes about 4 days before you're finally feeling comfortable with the time zone changes out there being in Hawaii from the East Coast. So from experience, that's a tough body clock spot for UMass, but I just couldn't pull the trigger. Coin says 87% of the cash on Marquette over, and it's dropped to 149. That's an interesting look from our guy. Coin, Trans-Canada. Let's go, Trans. I appreciate you dropping in, my guy. Cheshire Cat, of course. All the OGs rocking here tonight. JPZ says, I see -7.5. Is that for the High Point game? I'm curious. Oh, no, maybe it's the Illinois game. So Saturated says Illinois -6.5. That's what happens when you go from the bottom up. Smoke and Mirror says touchdown UCF. Again, we gave that one out as an official lean for the show, guys. Let me recap. Let's get this thing going. Show note, by the way, this will be the last one. Not until Tuesday will you see the last call come back here. Not much going on for Christmas. Had the option. Do we want to go to Wednesday when we have a fuller card? And said, hell no. Let's go to Tuesday. We got Billy Briz coming in on Tuesday. Tuesday's Billy's day. He's been running red hot. We want to continue to capitalize. It's going to be an NBA-focused show. I know a lot of you guys love the NBA, and it's going to be a great day to kind of break down. We're going to have a lot of time to get into each of those NBA games. So Tuesday it will be. Official plays for me. I've got the Edmonton Oilers +110, the Boston Bruins -111. I've got the -114 for the Chicago Blackhawks, Brooklyn Nets +5, Trae Young over 28.5 points. I got the Suns over 234 adjusted down, and Sabonis over 12.5 rebounds at +145. The Sacramento Kings at -3.5, and High Point -8.5. That's going to do it for the show tonight, boys and girls. Happy holidays to everybody. I hope you enjoy the time with your friends, your family, your loved ones. I hope you build that cash this weekend. Can't wait to get back next week and get back to work here once we get Christmas behind us, but enjoy the time. It goes fast. It's a beautiful time to reflect on the money we've made and the money we're going to continue to make. Follow Pub Sports Radio if you haven't done so already. $4.99 a month. Become a member. Appreciate Ian and all the boys for gifting those memberships this week. On top of that, if you haven't done so already, hit the thumbs up on YouTube. Help us promote the show. Happy holidays. That's going to do it. We be pumping.